Modern militaries operate drones, satellites, night vision systems, encrypted radios, and precision-guided weapons. On paper, war has never been more technological, and yet every serious military still spends time teaching what many civilians dismiss as primitive skills: land navigation with a map and compass, fire-making without ignition systems, fieldcraft camouflage, water procurement, shelter construction, and movement without detection. This isn't nostalgia, it's hard-earned institutional memory. Modern warfare has not replaced human vulnerability, it has amplified it. The reason these skills endure is simple. Technology fails, environments dominate, and war strips away conveniences faster than any other human activity. Technology collapses faster than doctrine admits. In controlled conditions, modern equipment is extraordinary. In combat conditions, it breaks, runs out of power, loses signal, or becomes unusable under stress. Batteries die in cold. Electronics overheat in desert heat. GPS signals are jammed or spoofed. Radios fail under terrain, weather, or damage. Logistics chains fracture under pressure. Militaries learned long ago that any system that depends entirely on technology will eventually fail in contact with reality. Primitive skills are not backups. They are the baseline that remains when everything else disappears. A soldier who cannot navigate without GPS is lost the moment satellites are denied. A unit that cannot move silently without electronic coordination is compromised the moment communications drop. Primitive skills keep operations alive when modern systems collapse, which, well, history shows is not a hypothetical scenario, but an inevitability. Every piece of modern gear increases logistical demand. Batteries must be charged, fuel must be delivered, replacement parts must arrive on time. The more complex the force, the more fragile it becomes. Primitive skills reduce that burden. A soldier who can read terrain needs fewer sensors, and a unit that understands concealment needs less armor. Troops who know how to manage exposure require fewer emergency evacuations. This is not about rejecting technology. It's about preventing dependence from becoming vulnerability. Militaries teach primitive skills because they compress logistics, reduce failure points, and extend operational endurance. No sensor fully replaces human perception. Terrain feels different underfoot before it looks different on a screen. Wind direction, sound travel, ground softness, vegetation disturbance. These cues are often detected by trained humans before machines register anomalies. Primitive skills train attention. They teach soldiers to notice subtle changes in environment, behavior, and pattern. Tracking, camouflage, and fieldcraft, they really sharpen situational awareness in ways that no digital system can quite replicate. Modern warfare still unfolds in physical space. Bodies still move through terrain. Primitive skills, well, they align human perception with that reality instead of outsourcing awareness to devices. Real combat environments, honestly, they destroy assumptions. Rain floods electronics, dust infiltrates mechanisms. Cold numbs hands and slows reactions. Heat exhausts bodies and, it accelerates mistakes. Primitive skills are designed to function inside degraded conditions, not ideal ones. Knowing how to stay warm without powered heating, how to manage moisture without advanced fabrics, how to rest without shelter systems, these are survival skills, not just historical curiosities. Militaries teach them because they address what war actually does to people. The soldier who understands exposure management will outlast the one with superior gear but poor discipline. One of the greatest dangers in war is, honestly, paralysis. When systems fail. Units that are used to constant guidance really struggle when they're cut off, But, soldiers who are trained in primitive skills actually retain their autonomy. They can move, hide, navigate, and survive, all without needing instruction. This kind of independence really matters when command structures fragment, when plans just, collapse, or when improvisation becomes absolutely necessary. Primitive skills create soldiers who can act without waiting, adapt without panic, and function without permission. History time and again favors forces that retain individual and small unit competence under disruption. These skills, they build psychological resilience. Primitive training is uncomfortable by design, that's for sure. It exposes soldiers to cold, fatigue, uncertainty, and inconvenience, but only in controlled doses. This builds tolerance for stress and, honestly, confidence in personal capability. A soldier who knows they can make fire, find water, navigate terrain, and manage exposure carries less fear into combat. Confidence reduces panic. Reduced panic improves decision-making. Militaries understand that survival is as much mental as physical. Primitive skills reinforce self-reliance, which stabilizes behavior under pressure. Modern gear encourages reliance. Primitive skills demand discipline. You must plan movement carefully. You must conserve energy. You must maintain routine even when exhausted. These habits translate directly into combat effectiveness. Discipline learned in primitive contexts carries over into modern operations. Every major conflict eventually strips forces down to fundamentals. From World War I trenches to modern counterinsurgency operations, soldiers, repeatedly fall back on basic skills when complexity fails. Militaries that ignore this lesson, relearn it at high cost. Primitive skills persist because they work across time, terrain, and technology levels. They're not tied to a system or era. They're tied to the human body operating in hostile environments. As long as war involves humans moving through physical space under uncertainty, primitive skills will remain relevant. Technology will evolve, but terrain, weather, fatigue, fear, and friction will not. Militaries teach these skills quietly, consistently, and seriously because they know something civilians often forget. When everything goes wrong, the oldest skills are the last ones left. They're not primitive, they're foundational. Strange,